Assalamu alaikum. I'm Ali Kaj, an injured warrior of the Midwest and a messenger of the covenant. Representing the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, the self-taught one, Master Suleiman, who has given us the gospel of Revelations with the angel key that gives us the understanding of the unsealed scriptures. This is update with Malik Hodge on this Wednesday, August the 24th. This is where we take current events and give the understanding of them through the Injil, the Gospel of Revelations, and give you the understanding of how each topic fits with the time, what's taking place today through the perspective of the unsealed scriptures. So let us get started. We're going to start with let's begin with the weather. This weather reports comes out of Afghanistan and Pakistan. We are all homeless and have nothing. Extreme weather affecting thousands in Pakistan and Afghanistan. More than 900 people have died in Pakistan from severe rains and flooding this summer, as the country sees its eighth cyclone of monsoon rains. CNN Sophia Southey reports. So Pakistan and Afghanistan has been hit with severe rain, and 900 people have died this year from flooding this summer. They have seen 8 cyclone monsoon rains. Now, this story, we pulled this up because just to you have in Europe, parts of Europe, you had what we would call a hurricane, 140 miles per hour winds, travel 1,000 miles across countries and devastating, pulling trees out, smashing cars, destroying property, buildings. That's a hurricane. Now, we have in Pakistan these monsoon rains. You have in Africa, and throughout different parts of the world, um, dangerous, deadly weather patterns, um, which are still taking place today. Here in America, these weather patterns are persistent after major droughts, and major heat um, hitting parts of Europe and killing thousands, and it is still surging on them to this day. They're expecting another heat surge in Europe in Europe as of now. So this weather pattern is persistent um, as it hits parts of Arizona, Mexico, Texas, um, flooding out areas, and haven't heard anything else about it. So I'll speak on that. Um, we'll look into it and bring you an update on that. That possible. I think it's already touched though. Just never was classified. Probably didn't strengthen enough to be classified as a yes, yes. It has to be classified as a to be given a name and classified as a, a storm or a tropical storm. So that's on that topic that we wanted to hit. Come in on that weather topic, and let us get to our next topic. Is our next topic is oh, 50. Hmm. Our next topic is hmm. Want to be Russia rockets hit the Ukraine. Okay. Russian rockets hit Ukraine town on Independence Day. 22 killed. KYTV. At least 22 people died and dozens were wounded when Russian rockets strikes hit. Hit Ukraine town and set a passenger train on fire, officials said, as the nation marked 31 years since its independence from Moscow dominated Soviet rule. Something changed on that. President Vladimir Zelensky had warned of the risk of repugnant Russian provocations ahead of the 31st anniversary on Wednesday of Ukraine's independence from Moscow dominated Soviet rule, and public celebration were canceled. The holiday also canceled with 6 months since coincided with 6 months since Russian forces invaded Ukraine, touching off Europe's most devastating conflict since World War II. In a video address to the United States Security Council, Zelensky said rockets hit a train in the small town of Chaplin, some 145 kilometers, 90 miles west of Russia occupied Donetsk in eastern Ukraine. Kaplan is our pain today. As of this moment, there are 22 dead, he said in a later evening video addressing, adding Ukraine would hold Russia responsible for everything it has done. Zelensky added a Karolo Timoshenko later said Russian forces have shelled Chaplin twice. A boy was killed in the first attack when a missile hit his house, and 21 people died later when rockets hit the railway station and set fire to 5 train carriages, he said in a statement. So, this took place today in Ukraine, in this Chaplin city. A train was hit, 22 people dead, several dozens more was injured. wounded. Russia was shelling. They're in war. So um, I don't know how you will explain um, you're at war and everything that's happening in war, yes, is contributed to being at war. So um, everything that um, Zelensky is sharing that he's holding Russia responsible. That's who they're at war with. So you know these type of things happen when you're at war. You know, um, people people are killed, children, um, the elderly, the babies to the old. So um, people they become um, um, to war. To they become victims of war. So this is what's taking place, and it's taking place on the 31st anniversary of Ukraine's independence from Russia. Again, Russia hasn't took responsibility. They'll let you know when they took responsibility for the shelling. Um, you have to be careful with this because um, the reports on the Ukraine uh, excuse me, the Ukraine's nuclear power plant. Ukraine is the one shelling their own power plant. Russia is in control of the power plant, but Ukraine's army is the one shelling the power plant, and they're the one that's causing or attempting to cause a rupture or a problem at the power plant. They're the ones shelling the power plant. So you have to really be careful to know, because in this is you're dealing with powers that be, laws, and how they're trying that how they pull certain things into play by doing certain things that they can utilize a strategic move by causing. And what this is, if they cause, if in any way that nuclear plant is damaged and it lets out radioactive anything, regardless if Russia had done it themselves or anything, just the fact that they're at war, that there's a um, written agreement signed in that Article 5 that that NATO can intervene in any case of the nuclear um, outbreak or accident or anything. So you have to really watch this, because encounter, it's always some type of scheme or law that they are playing with to get to to cause and to use that, get to their objectives to make something happen. So I have to say that Russia hasn't took responsibility for these strikes. You really have to make sure that you know who struck what. However, this is what happened today in Ukraine with the Ukrainian war and Russia. So um, just keeping our eye on that. Um, Wars and rumors of wars. So let us continue to our next topic. Our next topic is just okay. All right. Okay. Federal judge blocks part of Idaho abortion ban in Department of Justice law suit. A federal judge on Wednesday granted the U.S. Department of Justice request to temporarily block Idaho from enforcing its abortion ban in emergency situations. The Justice Department this month petitioned Idaho's district court for a preliminary injunction on the state uh, near total ban on abortion, saying its conflicts with the Federal Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, EMTALA, EMTALA, EMTALA. The Idaho law makes it a felony for physicians to provide an abortion unless physicians can prove in court that pregnancy that the pregnancy puts the pregnant person life at risk and or was a result of incest or rape. Okay. So the Biden administration on Wednesday scored the first legal victory since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, convincing a judge to block the petition of an Idaho law that criminalized performing an abortion on a woman to protect her health. The law, which was set to take effect on Thursday, bans abortion except in cases involving rape, incest, or when a woman's life is in danger, and does not contain an exception for when a pregnant person's health is at risk. It would allow authorities to arrest a healthcare professional involved in performing an abortion, putting the honest onus on that person to prove in court that abortion met the criteria for one of the exceptions. In the ruling late Wednesday, U.S. District Judge B. Lynn Wimmel said the statute violates federal act that requires hospital participating in federal funded Medicare programs to provide medical care when a person's life or health is at stake. The trigger law was written by Idaho state lawmaker long before the Supreme Court struck down Roe versus Wade in June, with the expectation that it could automatically go into effect soon after the court made that landmark ruling. So here we are again with the Roe versus Wade. The Democrats constantly attacking, trying to push abortion. That this Margaret Sanger thing that they have been pushing for years, that has taken the lives of 20 million black babies. Margaret Sanger, who said she wanted to get rid of niggers, rid of blacks, but niggers, what she called them. And this is one of the programs that the Democratic Party has pushed, and they're still pushing it. And they're just totally at odds with anybody, any laws. This is what it's showing, that no matter what laws or who votes, you can vote, but the government, the federal government, has its own laws that supersedes and that can be put into place that can check any laws that you voted for. So no matter what you vote on, it has to be in sync with what the federal law is. So the federal law can either allow you or cut you off or stop what's they can put it in place to overthrow your laws. So with this, it's just another thing to look at, and you can see this consistent turmoil and this consistent play of words of this law versus this law, and just letting you see how really this this nation's laws are works both ways. They can turn on and off laws as they please and make fit and to carry out as they please. And it is, and they still sit up and speak as they're righteous, or they're worried about you know, they have concerns about religious beliefs or whatever, when they're totally, everything that they stand on is against righteousness, period. So and also it shows the division in the country. No, and this division, no matter what they vote on, just like in Louisiana, another area to where they voted to ban abortion. So why do you go vote? What would you put it through the voting system for? Why vote on it if you're going to rule over what the voters put in their areas, but you rule over that? So no matter, it just shows you, no matter, you don't really have any rights, or we never had any, so it doesn't pertain to us anyway. However, just like in Louisiana, they have blocked, because of abortion, New Orleans has a $39 million bank account funding blocked for flood their pumps, their pumps that pumps the water off of New Orleans, and it's up under sea level. And these pumps are to protect the people from floods, but they're blocked that because of the abortion laws. And you have politicians and sheriffs and politicians. You have prosecutors saying they don't care what the law is. They literally, we don't care what the law is. We're not going to prosecute. We're not going to pick up. We're not going to do any of those things that the law shares us to do. We're going to do what we want to do. The sheriff, she said that she's not going to pick up anyone. She's not going to have anybody picked up. The prosecutor says they're not going to prosecute anyone. This brothers and sisters, this country has always been like that. This is like black laws, but these ain't black. This is like it. They make laws up. They carry out what they want to, when they want to, against who they want to. So, just keeping you in stride with what's taking place. How in from what's happening and the way that they're conducting themselves with these laws, the way that they can enforce unenforced, overruled, just that how they're gonna make it the way they want it. So it just keep you don't have no you're this you don't have no rights, no none of those things has ever been um really give not to the black man and woman, no way. We've been considered animals since we've been here. Since we've been since they have taken us out of our land and brought us here. So it just keeps you to understand that you the law is whatever they make it, whatever they say it is, you have to comply. So let us move on to our next topic. Our next, oh yeah, this is what's taking place. All right. All right. Let's get it like this. All right. U.S. confirmed it has sent response to EU on proposal to salvage the Iran nuclear deal. The United States has sent its response to the European Union on the proposal to try to save the Iran nuclear deal. The U.S. State Department confirms Wednesday As you know, we received Iran's comments on the EU's proposal final text through the EU or review of those comments has now concluded. We have responded to the EU today. State Department spokesman Ned Price said in a statement. He did not provide details on the response, but it is not expected that the U.S. will accept what Iran put forward without seeking changes and further negotiations. U.S. officials have voiced some optimism around the latest efforts to revive the nuclear deal, which the U.S. left in 2018 during the Trump administration, and which Tehran has increasingly violated since then. However, they have stressed that gaps remain between the two sides. It is also expected to face significant domestic opposition from U.S. congressional lawmakers and has been denounced by False Israel, whose prime minister said will act to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear state. The negotiations over the nuclear deal and also set against a backdrop of continued concerns about threats from Iranian and Iranian-backed military groups. EU spokesman Nabila Nasrallah confirmed they received the U.S. response and have transmitted it to Iran. Earlier on Wednesday, a spokesman for the Iran Foreign Ministry said they had received the U.S. response via the EU, and the careful study of the views of the American side has started. Iran will share its comments with the coordinator upon completion of the view. Nasir Kanane said, according to statement by the Iranian foreign minister, the U.S. answer was conveyed more than a week after Iran sent its response to what the EU top diplomat Joseph Borrell called its final text to restore the nuclear deal. Borrell said Monday that the Iranian response was reasonable. Price on Monday said the U.S. government had been working as quickly as we can, as methodically as we can, and as careful as we can see to it that our response is complete. Nothing it takes into account the remain feedback, the Iranian feedback. Biden administration officials have claimed that Tehran dropped a number of demands that were in previous drafts of the text meant to restore the 2015 agreement, including the demand that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC be delisted as a foreign terrorist organization. Still issues to resolve. However, U.S. officials have indicated that there are issues that still need to resolve before the U.S. will agree to rejoin the deal. Formerly known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the JCPOA, Iran has increasingly violated its commitments to the agreement and grown its nuclear program in the wake of the U.S. withdrawal. We've said all along that if Iran were prepared to re-enter the JCPOA, and if it were willing to drop the demands that are extraneous to the JCPOA, that is to say, the demands that Iran previously put forward that have nothing to do with the Iran deal, then we would be prepared on a mutual basis to re-enter the Iran deal. Price said Wednesday morning in an interview on CNN News Day. We're closer today, but we are still not there, he said. The U.S. sent its response to the EU a day after Israel National Security Advisor Ai Halata met with his counterpart Jake Sullivan in Washington on Wednesday. Israel Prime Minister Yair Lapid reiterated his country's opposition to this agreement because it is a bad one. Lapid called on the U.S. and others parties to the deal to walk away from the negotiations and claimed the negotiations are ready to make concessions. We have made it clear to everyone, if a deal is signed, it does not obligate Israel. We will act to prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear state, he said during a press conference in Jerusalem. Biden administration officials have denied making any concessions to Tehran and have urged that the resumption of the deal is the best way to prevent Iran from ever acquiring a nuclear weapon. A senior administration official said that in the event of a full mutual re-implementation of the deal, a number of constraints would go into effect. They conclude a prohibition on Iran enriching and stockpiling uranium above very limit levels. The removal of There it is. It's in here. Okay, here it is. The removal. Okay. Doing the press. Okay. There we are. It's kind of weighted. The removal of stockpiling and thousands of advanced centrifuges, including all of the centrifuges enriching at the fortified underground facility at Fordo, and the prohibition on reprocessing and redesign of a reactor that could otherwise be used to produce weapon grade plutonium. Strict limits on Iranian enrichment would mean that even if Iran left the deal to pursue a nuclear weapon, it would take at least 6 months to do so, the official said. Additions to the nuclear constraints, Iran would have to implement. The IAEA would again be able to implement the most comprehensive inspection regime ever negotiated, allowing it to detect any Iranian effort to pursue a nuclear weapon covertly. They added, much of that international monitoring would remain in place for an unlimited amount of time. So, as we see there, the U.S. have returned their um, response to the EU on the proposal to salvage the Iran nuclear deal. There's still things that has to be worked out. False Israel is not complying regardless of which way this deal. No matter which way this deal goes, they're insinuating, no, they're saying that they're going to make sure Iran does not become a nuclear state. In those words, they're saying that they're going to go to war, or they're going to attack, they're going to make sure, they're going to ensure that Iran does not become nuclear capability. And those words mean they are going to war regardless what America and the Iranian nuclear deal, no matter what happens with it. So, in knowing that, and watching what's taking place in false Israel, the moves that they're making, their preparation for war has already begun. They're not prepping, they're conducting Operation Wastebreaker and other operations that are operations of war that they are carrying out. They have started this even while America speaks of the nuclear deal or re-signing it. They made it, as I just said, made it known that no matter what, they made it clear that none of this has to do with false Israel. Nothing, none of it. So, what will be being Iran, what would be the upside in signing? Why would you sign something and you know that no matter if you sign it or not, that you still have to go to war with the Zionist state of false Israel? You know that you're going to war with this Zionist state regardless. This Zionist state, false Israel, is already making calculated moves to attack the clear and present danger of Islamic Jihad, Hamas. They're prepping and making moves on each border point. They're strategically moving to make assaults. They're carrying out operations of war. So this is what's really happened. Is the only thing that has to happen is a denial of America, of Iran and America doesn't come to term. America, only thing America has to do is turn and immediately starts to back false Israel and their union with false Israel, America, Saudi, the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia, and Britain will come into immediate motion of war immediately, because America is literally already in and has put more soldiers in the Middle East, and Britain as well is in the Middle East. However, all it's going to take is a no, and these things are going to rupture. However, why would you consider to make a deal when the region, conflict in the region is inevitable? So, once again, we're speaking of the JCPOA and how it is going to determine this war in the Middle East. As you see, even it's not going to get signed because you have senators and other politicians that is totally against, that is not supporting the JCPOA. Israel is totally against it, cheering with them to bag up out of it, and that none of it has anything to do with Israel. So you are the conflict in that area is going to happen. It's going to is going to grow no matter what. So it's inevitable. Hezbollah said it's inevitable. No matter what, no matter if the nuclear agreement is signed or not, it's going to escalate. It's the in the region, the war in the region is going to escalate. Hezbollah is sharing it. False Israel is sharing the same thing. That false Israel is already carrying out missions on Palestinians, on clear and present danger. They're carrying out missions on Syria. They're striking. They struck Yemen. So all of these, it's inevitable. So we're letting you know that from the angel standpoint, this war in the Middle East is America has ensured that they're standing with false Israel regardless. The only thing closer than false Israel to America is Britain. They've ensured that they're standing and they're going to protect their interests in the Middle East. And they're going to protect the House of Saudi Arabia. They've ensured that. The Britain is right there with them. They have to ensure, they have to go to war with that because that's where they are getting their oil from. Besides the oil they're getting from Russia. They're totally dependent on oil. So this war is inevitable. So making this JCPO agreement, signing or anything, it's not going to stop what's going to take place. So as we've been sharing, Iran is not going to sign the JCPOA. This war will break out any day now. They're talking, they're corresponding, both sides. America is speaking to its allies. Its allies is raising. You got American senators, you got different people inside of America, diplomats and military people. They're all having their input. So they're planning. And you can see what's taking. America's having airstrikes on Syria. None of these things is haphazard. All these things are a planned motion for what's about to take place. And it's the abomination of desolation. Michael and his angels. Iran and Syria is going to go to war with the dragon and his angels. The House of Saud, Britain and America, and false Israel to remove the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia, Britain and America is going to be removed from the Middle East, and false Israel is going to be sieged and destroyed. Michael and his angels and those with them are going to take over. Iran and Syria is going to reclaim the Middle East and take full control of the Middle East and its oil. And that is going to be the shock of the hour. The shock of the hour is going to be that they have put these lies that they have been still has used to counter to counter the truth, that put this lying nation in heaven or in the Middle East to count the true seed of Abraham, and that America is being judged and we're returning back to our land. And the judgment of America and the taking out of this world, of Satan and the devil's world, its civilization, this end of their time has come. So this will begin the war of Armageddon, this shock of the hour is going to cause people's heads to blow, hearts to blow, stroking out, heart attacks, aneurysms, and everyone's going to come to find out that false Israel was a fraud. They're not the true seed of Abraham. They've never been in slavery for 400 years. They're not it's too easy to prove. However, the true seed of Abraham, we're living out Exodus. The plague did not pass them over. They've been affected thoroughly by the plague, and this is another step, another event that we'll see. So with that, I'm gonna bring this segment of Up Late Update to a close. This segment of Up Late Update with Malik Hodge to a close. And thank you for watching. And I'll be here tomorrow at the same time, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern.